Hi and welcome back to ABG Investor Days. My name is Simon Jönsson and I'm an analyst here at ABG covering IT and gaming. Next up, we will have Ulrich, Niklas and Ann-Kristin from Nepa presenting. With that said, I'll leave the floor to you.
Thank you, Simon, for welcoming us. Yes, we have been here before, so today we will try to both give you a picture of the company as it is and also talk about how we want to take us into the future. Nepa's business. What we do. Nepa is a consumer insight company, and we were listed 2016, and this year, actually this month, we are 16 years old. So we are a teen at its best, just getting stronger. So we have operation at an international level. We are working in more than 50 countries today for our clients. And on the map, you can see, that we almost operate everywhere. We are a company which is doing consulting, research and tech, and our sweet spot is in the middle, where is what we call tech augmented advisory. Focusing on marketing optimization, which is by far our biggest source of revenues, where we measure long-term and short-term marketing effectiveness across all the marketing touchpoints there are, and by that optimizing the entire path to purchase online and offline. Our client base are several multinational players, and among them several different industry. And now I would like to invite Niklas to talk a little bit about what is a common denominator of these brands. And
hello everyone, I'm Niklas. I'm the Chief Product Officer of Nepa. And I think the easiest way to describe the common denominator between these companies is that it's business to consumer companies investing quite heavily into their brand and in their marketing communication. There are companies who invest heavily into market communication without investing that much in their brand, but all of these companies, the companies who benefit the most from our services, is the ones that have a focus on their brand and try to build their consumer connection from the brand. So I think that's the easiest way to join the dots between these companies. And there are a lot of other companies on our client roster which are not on this one because we can't speak about them, or we couldn't fit all of the logos. But I think it's the same for the ones that are not in this picture.
yes. Thank you, Niklas. And I think it's also important to understand that, like a lot of brands during the recent years have also felt that after a lot of years where a lot of investment and attention from the marketing side were on the short-term activities, especially online, and the measuring of those, they noticed that they were like falling behind when it comes to long-term brand value. It was decreasing, even though they were intensively investing in marketing. But then, and by noticing that, they also felt that they should have better control about the mixture of marketing measures they have to apply in order to balance the long-term value of the brand versus the short-term sales focus of the marketing. And that's where our knowledge is very big, because we are one of the few, or the only one company who is really good in both in combining the long-term and the short-term effects of marketing when we model things and when we measure things. Yes. Our consumer science platform is what helps us to do this. And as you see, last quarter we had 75% of our revenues within marketing optimization, which is our core. We had a little left in customer experience, and complementary to marketing optimization, we had innovation acceleration as well, which is mainly our ad hoc business. We have this is our proprietary consumer science platform, and here you can see different components we are covering, which is, it is on the solution side, we have this ad and brand tracker, we have the marketing mix modeling, pre and post testing of campaigns, and the path to purchase. And then we have in CX optimize and CX tracker, and innovation acceleration. It is about new products and services to launch, if that is a question for the client, how to price and to package, ID generation and segmentation and pricing. Yes.
I think the core thing about the platform is not the data collection and the visualization. That is fairly straightforward. But the real value and the real complexity of our platform is tied to when we try to tell our customers what it means and what to do. In essence, all research tries to build a little miniature universe of how things work in an industry with the help of questions and way of slicing and dicing the data. But when you start to be able to describe what the forces of nature is within that universe, that's when the real value is unlocked. So a lot of the value in our platform is actually the way it helps us model the data, not just visualize it and collect it, but to tell our clients what it means and what to do with it, and telling them what ROI they get from different types of investment. And I think that has a growing appeal for clients who quite recently lost many of their other tools. They've been working with attribution modeling and Google 360 and cookie-based solutions. And even though they had all of those great tools, they still found some areas of their business questions unanswered, especially the long-term effects. But with the complications in cookie-based measures and other measures that are infringing on people's privacy, we see a lot of sort of leaning towards this type of data and trying to combine it and incorporate it in their overall ROI models. And that is really a trend that has helped us a lot and made our services more valuable and relevant to our clients.
Yeah, and as you know, this trend of that cookies are more difficult to capture, and the general privacy is increasing and growing, and all over the world, and also more and more hard applied in the European Union, and that is basically fueling our solutions and the way we measure the interaction between brands and consumers. So, and you can also see that in our results when you look at the Q1, where we have a raise of 21.5% for the recurring revenue compared to the same quarter last year, which is really good. Then it's also a typical variation for the quarters. Q1 and Q3 usually are quarters where we have a higher recurring part compared to ad hoc because ad hocs are traditionally a little bit more in quarter 2 and quarter 4 for some reason. Yes, and now we are up. We had a long-term target of 66% on average over a year of recurring revenue. This quarter we are a little bit above, but so most likely we will get very, very close to this goal during the year. Yes. Anki, please, financial update.
Yes, thank you, Ulrich. So we published our Q1 report almost a week ago, and we thought we would take the opportunity to also give a short recap of our latest numbers. There was a strong demand in Q1, and we had a sales growth of 11.6%. Marketing optimization contributed to 75% of total sales, which is in line with our strategy, and also confirms a strong position within the MO area. Ulrich mentioned already that recurring revenues increased with almost 22% compared to previous years, and the GP growth was 15.4% with a gross profit margin of 77.8% compared to 75% in Q1 last year. The personnel costs increased 21.3% or 8.2 million SEK, and the bigger part of this increase, 7 million SEK, is due to capitalized costs from our development in our platform, which have been a big focus during Q1. Yes, and here we have the full income statement for Q1, and worth to mention, which wasn't mentioned before, is the other external costs, which increased with 4 million SEK compared to last year. And this is partly because we have invested about 2 million SEK in external resources in order to improve work processes in the whole group. But also because we last year still had some cost savings due to Corona, and Nepa's employees were still working from home. This year people have been coming back to the office, why increases in costs of running the office of course have happened, and people have started to travel again. And we have also been investing a bit more in marketing. And EBIT for the period landed on 8.9 million SEK, an increase of about 2 million from same period last year. Yes.
Thank you, Anki. Now we'll talk a little bit about our journey towards the future. As you know, we have been talking a lot about what we call legacy cleanup, and I hope you're not tired of it. I'm starting to be it. So we have planned, and we will be ready with the legacy cleanup during the summer this year, meaning that from then on we can focus on our expansion. And here we see also a huge opportunity to do so. And when it comes to the legacy cleanup, like some of the costs, operational costs we have right now, extra compared to last year, they are related to this last sprint of getting the legacy cleanup done, because we didn't do the work we had planned last year in time, so we had to rush it a little bit. Now we are preparing for the expansion by investments in marketing, in our sales pipeline, and we are starting to rolling that out, and then of course we also invest a lot in and this is activated then in our tech platform, because well, as you all know, to buy something right now which would improve our tech from it would be very, very expensive, because even though the prices have gone down a little bit on these kind of companies, they are still on a level where we think that it's better to do it ourselves, even though we are always looking of course, and having discussions, but it's nothing we feel right now is possible from where the prices are. Yes. Niklas, maybe you can talk a little bit more about what's coming then in the next phase of when we're talking about our disruptive offering development.
Yeah, I think we've been discussing back and forth whether we should build our own solutions or if we should partner up or buy or merge with other companies with interesting solutions. We have come to the conclusion that we don't have the risk appetite to make big acquisitions in this market, but we also feel that we have a very good point of departure when it comes to our own investments. The modern machine learning, AI, and modeling or econometric techniques is making it possible to utilize the thing that we have a lot of, and that is we have a lot of data points across different industries. We measure roughly 7,000 brands every day, and the new development within mathematics and econometrics allows the modern algorithms to be powered by not just the client we are serving, but also the dynamics from all other markets, from all the clients we are serving. So the big sort of forward-looking investments is right now going into that part of the platform, building on our modeling and prediction capabilities to make even more accurate and more relevant recommendations to our clients.
Thank you, Niklas. And I can go a little bit more into detail what our 2022 focus areas are. That is like global sales and marketing, building the sales excellent through sales training and dedicated sales efforts towards both new and existing client. I have said that before, we basically didn't have any sales organization at all beyond serving our existing clients and answering incoming leads, but no more than that. So we will add that now and build it up during the rest of this year and onwards. And then we also try to, by a little bit more dedicated marketing, build our brand awareness especially in those markets where we are still a rather unknown player, like UK and like rest of Europe. We are really well known in the Nordics, but not in the other countries. Yes, and then we have like the operational efficiency, which is again the legacy cleanup, which will be done this summer, and then the optimization of our structured capital and important core competencies in order to be more efficient in our delivery and like streamlining our production lines. As you all know, we have switched from one big old production line for tracking to a new one and that will be done during the year. But then, of course, you always need to rethink things and improve it a little bit more. That's an ongoing process.
Yeah, and also worth mentioning is that we have, in the past 2 years, our main tech investments has gone into rationalizing and increasing scalability and automizing things, basically saving costs. I think right now we're still keeping that, but we have a better balance between rationalizations and cost savings, but also working on the overall value of our delivery, which I think is it's a little bit of a shift in our philosophy. not as defensive as we have been in the last 2 years, looking ahead and trying to improve the value of our product and the sellability of our product, which I think will show.
Yeah. Yes, and then we have like and that's also, I think, important when we think about like the outlook right now. You know, there are lots of people talking about that we have inflation, and inflation comes also with some kind of like economic downturn. I'm not sure so much about that, but if it happens, you know, we are well prepared because we have been working hard on our internal efficiency, and we have also the ability to change course in our cost base very, very quickly. I think that was all for today, beside a little summary, which is that, yeah, well, the Q1 report showed what we think was a very good start of the year, despite the uncertainty we of course always have about the future, but now it's more towards the war in Ukraine. We don't know what's happening there, and the rising inflation. What we are doing is, when we're building the future Nepa, is to strengthen our brand tech position, combining marketing and brand initiatives with the power of technology. We continue to invest in tech-augmented advisory to increase efficiency and take Nepa to the next level, and temporarily adding extra resources under the first half of 2020 to finish our legacy cleanup during the summer. And then during the year, we are ramping up our marketing and sales efforts. Yeah. So, and we think and feel as well, when we look at the demand we have from our clients, that there is that the decision-making support within marketing is really a big demand out there. And when there's insecurity in the market, like it seems to be right now, this is rather rising than falling. But then the willingness to pay, we'll see how that will look like. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we have time for some questions. Maybe this one is for Niklas or Ulrich, I'm not sure. But we have talked before about the consumer decision journey, a model made by McKinsey. I was just wondering how you are working with that model, if you are.
Yeah, I think everyone does. It's impossible to not relate to it in some way. I think we work mainly in 3 of those stages. We look at the decision process, sort of what makes people choose a certain product at a certain point, and what the parameters are for choosing that specific brand. And we're looking at the choice set and the competition in that choice process. In that model, you also have sort of what we call lower funnel. Once you are a customer, and your sort of journey as an active client of a company. We're not as focused on that part. There are for different reasons. It's for once, it's often not the same stakeholder within our clients. So it's you have to sell complete mapping. You have to sell to 2 people or 2 different functions within a company, and the tools where you affect that journey is a little bit different. We cover the journey that is affected by communications and brand management and tooling around communication efficiency and that part. The other part of the journey is much more operations. And we have some coverage. We try to cover the things that relate to the first part of the journey. But the questions, the managerial challenges is very different in that part. So what we try to do is to ingest that data and work with other suppliers or with the client's own data in that journey and make sort of a holistic picture of it. But our main stakeholder is typically the CMO or the media department, and they typically don't have the tools to affect the sort of customer experience once you're in. So that's why we focus on the first part, on the acquisition and efficiency there.
And there you have sort of an edge. I guess other companies are not as focused as you are on that initial phase.
Yeah, I think so. There are a couple of things that we do differently. One is that when you do this, when you try to manage and cover this with research, the typical way of doing it is doing a huge questionnaire where you try to figure out everything that possibly could affect that decision. So you ask questions about everything. And that works when you're really good at knowing what affects it. But a lot of the time, there are things outside that affects it might be what competitors do, it might be changes in the media landscape, it might be inflation or war or pandemics or changes in customer behavior. And that is extremely difficult to cover. If you try to cover it in a data collection, you will only have maniacs answering enough questions for you to make that little universe. What we do is we handle it in a different way. As I said, we collect data every day, and that creates a time series. And the beautiful thing about the time series is that almost anything else in the world that affects a business can also be sort of symbolized by a time series. Everything happens, sales, investments, pandemics, wars, everything is able to plot on the timeline. And if you then apply models and look for the relationship, how the different factors move or are affected by each other, that gives you a much richer data set to draw from. You don't have to anticipate everything that might affect you in the future. And you can always go back and look at what the hell happened here and search other data sources and connect them. And that is only possible if you have a time series. It's not possible to have sort of a one-off questionnaire, a big data collection, and then try to connect things, because you don't know how they move together. There's no way of determining what's the cause and effect and how they relate to each other. So I think that's one of the key things about our platform and our philosophy on how to connect the data that we collect for our clients with the data we get from our clients and from their business, the BI systems or data warehouses or data from other sources like weather, inflation, and stuff
I get
like that.
it. Thank you so much. I think that's all we had time for, I'm afraid. But thank you, Ulrich, Niklas, and Anki for coming, and thank you, the audience, as well. See you next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.